There are some places that no one would expect a grievous crime to take place in. The quiet little suburb of Fort Thomas is one of these. However, in 1896, 22-year-old pregnant woman Pearl Bryan was found decapitated in an orchard, her head cut off while she was alive with dull dentistry tools.
My name is John Mendel, and I am the owner of what it was called the Moore and Lock House. It was built in 1851, and it was one of the first structures in the city of Fort Thomas. It's a state landmark. It is the site of the Pearl Bryan murder, which happened in 1897. Two dental students that went to school in downtown Cincinnati, and they had a friend in Indiana, and they went there, visited for the summer, and one of the students got very intimate with one of the people up there, and what happened was that about 6 months later they got a call and said, "I'm in trouble, what are we going to do?" And so they told her, "Come on down to Cincinnati and we'll take care of it." Now, that woman didn't know what take care of it meant. She didn't know it was going to be married or whatever. So they met her at the train, and they took her to a place in Newport, really, at the time. And when she was there, they gave her cocaine. And at that time, cocaine was legal, was a legal drug. And they got her all messed up, both of the guys did. And they took her along Route 9, which was Licking Pike, and they took her out there, and they came up around by St. Stephen's Cemetery, and they were coming back in with the idea to perform an abortion. And they panicked, and what they did is since they were dental students at that time were actually like half doctors. So they had all the tools. They worked on cadavers. So what they said, this is not going good. So they actually sliced her head off. And they hopped back they had hired this carriage from a place in Clifton to take him out there. And it was a black man. And at that time, in the 1897s, the black man just kind of did what you were told to. But when that black man had the carriage parked on US 27, which is right over the hill, when he heard all the moaning and screaming, he ran and back to downtown Cincinnati. Once they cut off her head, they had a carpet bag. And what they did is they put her head in a carpet bag with the theory that they'll never find out who she is because we cut off her head. So what happened then is, and everybody has a theory what happened. This is my theory, but I've studied this pretty much. But what happened then is that they put the head in the bag, and they took it back to the bar in Newport and told the bartender, "Hold this bag for us until Monday morning when their school opened." Now, the school was a dental college, but like I said, at that time, the dental students were actually doctors too. So they were trained on stuff like that, and they also worked on cadavers. So what they had there, they had a furnace that would burn human remains after they worked on the cadavers. And that's my theory, what happened then. They threw that head in that furnace. But when he took the head back in the carpet bag to the bar in Newport, the bartender picked it up and he says, "Oh my God, what do you got here, a bowling ball?" Because it was so heavy. What happened was, Monday morning when the college opened, they came back and got it, and they threw it into the furnace. And that's my theory, and there's a lot of people believe that's what's true. There are stories out there about They took it here, they took it, threw it in the river, they took it to Bobby Mackey's, and they, and it's haunted, and this is pretty much what happened. If you really study it, you'll find out what happened. Now, what happened after that, this was about a 45-acre farm. It went all the way down 27, down Fort Thomas Avenue, all the way to Grandview Avenue. So what happened is, one of the farm workers came here on the next day, and he looked, and he went through the brushes and saw the body. It had no head. So what he did, he came up to the house up here, and they sent a message to the sheriff of Campbell County at the time. So they all come up and investigated and said, oh my God, this is a terrible tragedy. What happened? And nobody could figure out who the girl was, why was she here, and what was the motive. They hired this one detective. He said, let's look at her shoes, because there wasn't much left to go on. So I looked at her shoes, and at that time, shoes were a little different in those days. The women had about one or two. And what they happened to see is that the shoe had a serial number and a manufacturer's number. So they traced that down, and they traced it to this area, and there was only like 4 women that had bought that shoe. And they went to 2 or 3 of them. He says, well, no, she's fine. She's here. She's there. So the one they went to said, well, that was sold to Pearl Bryan.
As with any big event in a small town, many legends have sprung up from this heinous crime.
This was back about 5 or 6 years ago. The reporter came in and told me that her grandfather, did a story about this place in 1929, 1930. She came into the door and said, I don't believe any of the stuff. I said, well, that's all right. I don't care. I'll just show you what's going on. You want to do a story. So I went back this way and pointed to the kitchen. I said, well, nothing ever happens here because it was built on in the 1900s. So I came back here like this, and we're standing there, and she said, well, I still don't believe all that. All of a sudden, from this area here, about the size of a bowling ball, a big ball of light came right through here, hit the wall, and bounced down the steps. That reporter said, what was that? He says, are you creating this just to make a story? I said, no, it just happens here all the time. The hair on her arm starts standing up like that. She says, I'm out of here. I'll call you for the rest of the story.
Even as far away as Wilder, legends about this crime exist.
My name's Laura. I'm one of the founders of Gatekeeper Paranormal, and we've been doing the paranormal tours here at Bobby Mackey's for 3 years. Bobby Mackey's Music World, Bobby opened the club in 1978, but this building has been here since the late 1800s. And there have been many claims of paranormal activity dating all the way back to the 1800s, just past the Civil War. Probably her only connection to this building is that she likely passed by the building as she was dying. There's a lot of legend associated around her head as far as what happened to her head. The most popular legend is that Scott and Alonzo performed some kind of satanic ritual and put her head in the well in the basement of this building. This building that we're in now is one of the old, this is from the 1800s, this particular building. This is one of the old distillery buildings. But what's weird is look at the wallpaper. It has like pink flowers and a real pretty border up at the top. I don't know what they would have.
What is that?
What is that? Listen to
Let
this.
Laura listen to it. Stopped.
What was it?
Screeching.
It's like loud screeching noises coming from the microphone.
I asked how many people are in this room.
Just me.